Hello and welcome to T-Level Tactics, and this video for Root Core 2 Culture of the T-Level Digital Support Services course. And in this video, we'll be taking a focus on digital technology and physical health. So we'll identify habits in our usage of technology and devices. We'll have a look at the physical impacts that using technology can have on us. And we'll also come up with some mitigations to prevent physical harm to ourselves as well. As always, before we get started, T-Level Tactics videos are not endorsed or sponsored by any education institution or qualification awarding body. And these videos should not be used as a replacement to any classroom learning you might be receiving, as the discussion and practical activities with your peers and lecturer will help to expand your thinking and comprehension. Instead, these materials are best used as preparation material or revision to reinforce your learning. And these videos cover the same content and required knowledge for Root Core 2 of the T-Level Digital Business Services course. However, they will be more contextualized towards IT support roles. So let's look at the way that we use some digital devices. Let's take a quick look at how we use devices and just follow along with my instructions for now. See how many of these things apply to you. Let's start off with smartphones. First of all, take out your phone and hold it in one hand. Now, do you hold it so the corner of your phone digs into your palm like this? Many of us do. We don't realize it's a common trend. Now a keyboard. Hopefully you're in front of or near a computer, so place your hands on a computer keyboard. Have a look at how you've placed them. Don't move them now that I've mentioned it, just take a look. Do you place your fingers over the center row and your thumbs over the spacebar? If you do, you've probably learnt how to type correctly, as that's the correct starting position to do any typing. But if your left hand instinctively hovers over the W, A, S, D and Shift keys, chances are you might be a gamer instead. Now let's look at mice. Put your hand on a computer mouse. Don't move it. Are you a palm grip, a claw grip, or a fingertip grip? Everyone's got a different natural position they put their hand in when they use a computer mouse. So whatever comes naturally to you. And if you're a console gamer that plays on the sofa, do you sit back comfortably when you're playing? Or are you leaning forwards trying to get into the action? Sometimes this changes depending on what game you're playing. There are things we do when we use technology that we don't even realize. Many of us do it, but they can potentially lead to side effects that in turn can lead to long-term issues. Let's have a look at some of those. It's easy to spend more time than you think using digital devices, whether it's being absorbed into a game on a computer or a games console, or endlessly scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or whatever else. Or simply because you have to, as part of your job. When we use devices, we need to think of our posture. Our posture is the way we hold our bodies when sitting, standing, or lying down. And it's easy to have poor posture when using digital devices, such as leaning forward or hunching over devices, which can lead to back and neck pain, or protruding the head forwards while looking at screens can strain the neck and upper back, or sitting with your shoulders hunched over like this image at the bottom here, which can lead to muscle tension and discomfort. Any display that we look at for long periods of time could potentially lead to eye strain. Particularly, the artificial light from our screens and the proximity of those screens to us can be a factor of this. It's often experienced as discomfort, eye dryness, irritation, blurred vision, and/or headaches. You don't have to have all of those to feel like your eyes are being strained. Sometimes it can only be one. An eye strain can be caused by extended periods of looking at screens without taking a break. Inadequate or harsh lighting can also contribute to eye strain as well. You should also look to see if there's any glare coming from your screen or surrounding surfaces around you, any reflective material that might be shining a bright light into your eye while you're using a device. You should also make sure you're not sitting too close to the screen or, conversely, too far. There's also repetitive strain injury. Repetitive strain injury can happen to any muscle or tendon when it's subjected to repetitive motions, such as typing or clicking a mouse. It will often affect wrists, hands, your neck, or your shoulders. And people who experience repetitive strain injury will experience pain, tenderness, swelling, stiffness, and/or weakness in the affected areas. And these symptoms can become worse over time. Your poor posture and lack of any breaks away from the screen or devices can also contribute to the development of RSI. One that we've mentioned in previous videos is disturbed sleep and disturbed sleep patterns. The light produced from displays is often high in blue light. And this blue light is very similar to sunlight and disrupts melatonin production in the body, often by underproducing melatonin. Now, the levels of melatonin present in our body are linked to our circadian rhythm, which tells our body when we need to be awake or asleep. The blue light from displays tricks our bodies into thinking it's still daytime and prevents the production of melatonin to stop us falling asleep. And this can disrupt and prevent a natural sleep cycle. It can prevent the body from entering deep sleep or even REM state. Increased screen time also correlates with decreased physical activity, leading to a more sedentary lifestyle. And long-term sedentary behaviour can lead to health risks such as obesity, cardiovascular diseases or heart disease, or diabetes. Guidelines in England state that adults should aim to do 150 minutes of moderate activity, like walking, cycling or dancing, or 75 minutes of vigorous activity such as swimming or sports every week to avoid this. So if you're a Patreon member, you should head over to patreon.com/tleveltactics and download the task sheet that's attached to this video. Have a go at the first task, which is all about physical health. It'll take you about 30 minutes, so I suggest you pause the video here, have a go, then come back when you're ready to move on. So what can we do about all of these potential impacts? First of all, how many of these issues do you think have affected you, no matter how mild or severe? And what do you think might help to prevent or mitigate the negative effects from them? One of the first mitigations we'll look at is ergonomics. And ergonomics is the consideration of design to prevent fatigue and discomfort. It's simple adjustments to the way you use a computer or device that can help to prevent muscle pain. Simple changes such as ensuring your chair allows your feet to rest flat on the floor with knees at a 90-degree angle. And your desk should be at elbow height when seated, allowing for relaxed shoulders. You should also take a look at your monitor. The top of the screen should be at or just below eye level, about an arm's length away to reduce neck strain. It should look a little bit like this. You could also use a chair that provides lumbar support and promotes good posture. And if you use a laptop, you could use a stand to elevate the screen to eye level, reducing the need to hunch over. And also, try using an external keyboard and mouse using USB or Bluetooth, as this can help maintain a more natural arm and wrist position. In terms of eye health, and to prevent eye strain, you should make sure you visit an optician once a year to check your eyes and get a prescription for glasses if necessary. Sometimes this isn't a permanent thing. You might just have glasses when you're working with displays. And also make sure you drink enough water to keep hydrated and prevent any dryness. There's a rule that's recommended to follow. It's called 20-20-20, which means every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break to look at something 20 feet away to help relax the eye muscles. It's also recommended that once an hour you take a 15-minute break away from the screen. You could also try and use display settings that reduce blue light exposure and adjust brightness and contrast of your display for comfort. Both Windows and Mac have a built-in night light feature. It's also available on iPhone and Android devices, sometimes called a reading mode. And you should also ensure that your workspace is well lit, avoiding harsh overhead lights and minimize any glare on screens. You could also try using an anti-glare filter to help this and prevent any reflections. There's also law and legislation surrounding working with display screen equipment, and it's called that, working with display screen equipment. If your job involves looking at a display for long periods of time, your employer has an obligation by law to perform a display screen equipment assessment, or DSE assessment. This should involve ensuring you have effective working equipment for you to carry out your job. They should also make sure they obtain any equipment to help reduce fatigue and strain on you, and ensure you have the ability to take regular breaks away from the screen. They should even provide eye tests. You can find out more about this at hse.gov.uk/MSD/DSE/assessment.htm. And remember, this legislation only applies if you work in the United Kingdom. In terms of preventing RSI, first step is making sure you have a good ergonomic workstation. But you should also take a break every hour for at least 15 minutes and get away from the screen to make sure you stretch your muscles. You could also try typing a little bit lighter, avoiding any excessive force on keys. And you could consider some of the devices pictured here, ergonomic keyboards and mice, and even wrist supports to reduce strain. There are also ways to help maintain your sleep. Creating better sleep for yourself is actually one of the easier things to do. You could try setting a specific time to stop using devices, for example, an hour before you go to bed. Make sure you have a consistent time to go to bed every night. You could try reading a book or different relaxation techniques before you go to sleep. Use night mode and night light features of software and displays. Or even try not to have any displays in your bedroom and separate your sleep environment from your work environment. And make sure your room is dark, cool and quiet to make sure you're sleeping easier and more comfortably. Remember, if you have discomfort after using digital devices after any period of time, you should consult your doctor. If you experience heart palpitations, eye twitches, lightheadedness, disorientation, altered vision, or even confusion while using digital devices, you should stop immediately. Some people may also be susceptible to photosensitive epileptic seizures when using digital devices, particularly when playing video games. So if you do experience any of this, please do stop, go consult a doctor to make sure you're going to be okay. So for Patreon members, it's time to move on to task 2 of the task sheet, and it's the final task for this task sheet. Only 2 tasks this time around. So pause the video here and have a go at that second task. It'll take you about 45 minutes, I think. Then come back and we'll finish things up with a summary and an exam question. So in this video, we've identified habits in our technology usage. We've explained the physical impacts that using technology can have on us. We've also come up with some mitigations to prevent that physical harm to ourselves as well. Let's have a go at an exam-style question. Describe 2 measures an individual can take to prevent negative physical effects while using digital devices. There are 4 marks here. 2 marks are for identifying 2 measures, and the other 2 marks are for describing those measures well. And that brings us to the end of this video. The next video is exclusive to our Patreon members, and it's a bit of a project that will use all of your knowledge from this Root Core 2 Culture unit. If you're not a member of the Patreon just yet, head over to patreon.com/T-Level Tactics to access all of the exclusive content for our members over there, like the task sheets, our podcast editions, and of course, the Patreon exclusive project for this unit. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button at youtube.com/@T-Level Tactics to be notified when our next videos are coming out. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.